Hello there, this is Battleborn again. In today's video, I'm gonna touch upon a topic that is a little bit difficult to talk about because to me it involves a lot of memories, a lot of extreme scenes, a lot of anger, a lot of fighting, uh, just really a long battle. So the topic I'm going to talk about today is, and to in my experience, it was my narcissistic mother that did this to me. And at the time, I was living in a single mom household, so there was nobody else around that saw what she did. Um, Very dangerous situation. Uh, and I thank God that He gave me the power to stand firm in the truth, because at the time I didn't know anything about narcissism. I didn't know anything about none of this. The only thing I knew was that I was speaking the truth and that she was trying to impose lies on me, but I didn't understand why. And like I said, I didn't know anything about narcissism. I didn't know anything about any personality disorder. At the time, I guess I was about, well, this started early in my life, but it went a little bit like in episodes because when my mom was married, she abused her husband more. She had somebody else to abuse, so to speak. But when they divorced, that abuse started, you know, um, coming my way, so to speak. And I was living in a single mom household, so it was just me and her all day long. Um, so, but there was always abuse in the family, but it had more. She mixed it up a little bit more. That's what I'm trying to say. When she was married and I was living there with my brother as well, older brother. But when he moved out and they got divorced, it was just me and her, and it was like a war every day. And it started from I was about 11, 12 years old, and but this particular behavior, was ongoing throughout my childhood and my teenage years. And the thing that narcissists, how they think, and I'm talking about the narcissist in my case, and I do believe that this is pretty similar for extreme malignant narcissists, and that is, when it comes to medication, they want to make the child look bad. They want everybody to look bad around them. But in my case, it became like I was a targeted person, and she wanted me to look bad. She wanted me to put all these pills, give me all these pills, and the sole reason was because she wanted to be able to say to her friends and all these kinds of things that, that I was sick, that there was something wrong with me, right? And I felt like, I didn't know at the time, but I still felt like this, that she was trying to push her insanity, so to speak, onto me. And the things that she claimed that I have was things like, the common like ADHD, that I have, that I had obsessive compulsive disorder. My mom was reading a lot of medical stuff, articles and stuff like this. And she knew exactly, and that's the strange part, that these doctors and these psychiatrists never got. Like she went to them and she told them what I had, instead of them at least trying to figure it out for themselves. They just bought her story. And I find that, like, you're a doctor. Aren't you supposed to use your own mind? You are a psychiatrist. Aren't you supposed to make the decisions? No, because how the narcissist works, they're extremely charming. And I saw this a lot with my mom. She was like, because usually the doctors in this, well, all the time, actually, every time there was one of these people, either in my home or that we had to go to a clinic. It was like it was always men, and she was extremely flirtatious. She was charming, to the point of embarrassing to me. I was sitting there and I was like, this is just embarrassing. And I told her that I think I was 10, no, I was 11 or 12 at the time, and I said, like, this was after the divorce, and I said to her, like, you were married, you were married to my dad. Now you're like just flirting with all kinds of men. Well, I'm not married anymore, she would say. Now, again, but she didn't pick up what I was trying to say. I was trying to say that you know, I'm your kid, I'm your son. I don't like that you do that in front of me. But the thing is, like, I didn't understand really why she did it. But the thing was, like, the reason she did it was because to get all these doctors and all these psychiatrists onto her side and to manipulate them into believing in whatever she told them. The thing was that when she was in the room with me, she knew that I wouldn't go along with, you know, everything she said. So when she was sitting there with them, and she was just like trying to explain the troubles in the home and blah, blah, blah. But what she would do later on was to pick up the phone. She would go home and call and be on the phone with some of these doctors for hours. I'm not kidding. She was like sitting there for like an hour or so. And I was like, because I became aware of this, so I started asking, like, who are you talking with? You know, oh, it's just a doctor that we were talking to now. I just forgot to tell him something. Oh, and the things that she forgot to tell him was a bunch of lies about me in the home. So before I knew it, she had gotten prescription for a bunch of different drugs that she wanted me to take. And I said, no, I'm not taking any of this. And then, you know, I remember one day especially, because this happened more than once. And one day especially, she was just like, here are your new pills. Like, here you go, kind of style. And I'm like, no, I'm not taking any pills. Forget about it. This was in the morning, so I was about to make breakfast, and she went, you know, she went crazy. And she took, you know, and opened one of the packs. She took one of the pills out and she tried to push it in my face. And I slapped her hand. I don't remember if she lost the pill or anything, but I slapped her hand really hard. And I said, I will never, ever, I cursed. And I called her a lot of names. But I said, I will never, ever take one of those freaking pills. I didn't say freaking, but, you know. And when I said that, she said, okay, I'm going to put it in your food so you don't know it. So I'm going to put it in all food and drink in the home so you will get these pills in you. And I was like, this is when I think back at this, you know, this is like a horror scene. It's like from a horror movie. So I became extremely anxious in the home to drink and eat because I didn't know, because she was capable of doing that. But of course, after a while, things settled a little bit. And now the problem became that I didn't want to take these medications. So she came up with a new thing. And at this point, it was like just, I had all these anxiety disorders and stuff like this. Yes, I had trouble with anxiety, but that was because of her behavior. But, you know, nobody connected that part and all these things. So, you know, so she went from that, like, I had anxiety, to now I must have some kind of defiant problem or personality disorder. Like, I was defiant, and then she came up with me having ADHD in collaboration with another psychiatrist that she had groomed, because she groomed all of these people all the time. She groomed them. She sent these people flowers and cards and wine bottles when she had the money to do so. These professionals took it. And one of these professionals came to my home. He sat with me for 30 minutes, and I was pissed as fuck. I'm sorry that I'm cursing in this video, but this was my emotion, so I'm just trying to tell it as real as it is. I was pissed. And he could tell I was pissed. And my mom had been agitating me the whole day. I knew that he was going to come. I knew what he was going to say, and I knew that she had groomed this man, and I looked upon him as a weak coward. And he sat there, and he was like, just, I don't know what he hoped to get from my mom, but I could tell like he was like being a little bit sexual, being a little bit, you know? And I just looked at him. I just stared him down. At the time, I guess I was 14, 15. I just stared him down. And he understood that, okay, I'm not going to go anywhere with this today, at least, you know, but he tried to flirt with my mom. And now he was a fucking psychiatrist, and he was a pretty well-renowned person, at least where we lived. And this guy worked in hospitals. But he came, and he had this sheet of paper that I had to fill out. And like, it took me 30 minutes to do so, or maybe 20. And from that sheet, he didn't even have to go to the office or anything to read it or to interpret whatever answers, because it was just like these small little things I had to fill out. And he said, yeah, you have attention deficit disorder. It's obvious to me that you have. I can tell right away. And I was like, you're a fucking liar. And I told him, I don't believe you. How can you tell? You have met me. You've seen me for 30 minutes, and now you give me ADHD. I was smart, man, and I'm so proud of myself back in those days. And I'm not saying that I'm saying that because I am proud of myself, because I stood my ground. I was 14. I was alone. And I had this narcissistic mother, but at the time I didn't know that. But she's way more than a narcissist, by the way. She's a psychopath, and I have more stories to back that up. But I'm not telling these stories I'm telling it to inform people, and hopefully, I am so sure that there's a lot of kids in this position today, and kids or men now that were boys that have been in this position, and probably girls as well. But I was like, he had given me ADHD. So he went out the door, and the last thing he told me was like, because this was something apparently my mom had told him, that he said to me, if you make any troubles for your mom over that, you will start on this medication, which was Ritalin. I have contacts, he said. I have people that I know that can deal with people like you, boys like you. I didn't know what that meant, but it was obviously a threat. And I said to him, yeah, that sounds very professional, I said. Something like that. That's how a doctor speaks. That's something like that. I don't really remember. It was something like that. That was the last thing I said. My mom walked him out, and I didn't speak to my mom after this. But she said that the pills would be available on Monday, because this was before the weekend. So she said that I will pick these pills up on Monday, and you will begin on them as soon as I get the pills. And I didn't answer her. I knew that I wouldn't start on the pills. So now she had a new set of pills. She had all these kind of pills, but now she had a new set of pills, and now she wanted to give me these pills, Ritalin, which was like. And I was smart at this, because I said to her, a month ago or a couple of months ago, you said I had anxiety, And she was like, yeah. So you tried to give me medication for anxiety, right? And she was like, yeah, I did, but you didn't want to take it. You're so difficult, and you're this. And I'm like, yeah, but now you're trying to give me Ritalin, which is not smart to give a person with anxiety. Because this is Ritalin is like it's Adderall, it's amphetamine. And I was like, are you that stupid? So you say first that I have anxiety, but yeah, but you can have both. She said, you have both anxiety, and you have OCD, and you have ADHD. You have so many problems. And she told me my name. You have all these problems. And I was like, no, I don't. The only problem I have is that I am not being left alone. If I'm just left alone, I'm fine. So I'm not gonna make this video too long, but this was kind of like how the narcissist used doctors, psychiatrists, people in the home to give me medication. And it went so far that she threw me out of the house eventually because I didn't want to take the medication. I was able to move back in later on, but it was always with this. She had given up on that medication stuff when I started to get older, like when I was 17, 18. But still, she pushed it that I was sick, that I was disordered, and all these kind of things, which was which was probably her projection. You know, it was her projection of all kinds of problems onto me. So it's just horrible behavior. It's a nightmare to live in this kind of situation for people. And if you have any similar stories, please share, because this is just like this is so a dangerous form of child abuse, because people can begin on these medications. They can become addicted to stuff that they really shouldn't take. I believe these things are dangerous. And not only that, but I also believe that, you know, messing with a young brain like that in before puberty and during puberty, so much is happening in the body, and these doctors just prescribe these mind altering drugs for young kids. It is a crime. This behavior is a crime. Unfortunately, these doctors and these psychiatrists is looked upon by society right now as heroes. They're not heroes. They are enabling abuse in a lot of cases. And I'm not saying that all doctors and all, I'm not saying that, but I'm talking about these specific doctors and these specific psychiatrists that run around and do the bidding of narcissists. They are criminals. So thank you for listening in, and have a good day.